Hello, welcome to our literacy lesson. Our story that we're doing this week, can you remember what it's called? Mr. Wellard read it to us earlier this week. It is the title of our story. Little Red Riding Hood. Well done. Our story is Little Red Riding Hood. We're going to do our story map of Little Red Riding Hood. So I need your help joining in, okay? When we talk about fairy tales and these traditional stories, what do they always start with? Once upon a time. Good job. So I'm going to draw a picture of a book opening, just like the action that we do for Once Upon a Time. All our stories start with this at the moment because we're learning all about fairy tales. So when we see this symbol, we know to say once upon a time. Who's the main character in our story? Little Red Riding Hood. Well done. The story is named after her, isn't it? So the main character is Little Red Riding Hood. So once upon a time, there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Well done. So I'm going to draw a picture of a girl. With a little smiley face, and she's going to be wearing a cloak. Now, why is she called Little Red Riding Hood? Why is she called Little Red Riding Hood? What do you think? Because she wears a red cloak that has a hood. You're right. So, what sound does red start with? Red. Well done. So we're going to write red. Here. Red. So, once upon a time, there was a little girl. Oh my goodness, we need actions. What actions shall we do for Little Red Riding Hood? Can you have a think? I'm going to do an action like this, like she's wearing a hood. But if you have a better action, you do that one at home, because I can't see your actions, so I can't use them myself. But I would love to see you using your own actions in your videos. That would be amazing. Okay, so once upon a time, there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Where did Little Red Riding Hood live? Can you remember? Did she live in a castle? No. Did she live under the sea? No. Did she live in the forest? Yes, well done. She does. Little Red Riding Hood lives in a house in the forest. What does that word mean? What does forest mean? What might you see if you were in a forest? You might see lots and lots of trees. That's right. A forest is a place that has lots and lots of trees really close together. So sometimes the trees can be so close together that it feels quite dark and spooky in a forest. Well done. Okay, so Little Red Riding Hood, let's do our action. Little Red Riding Hood lives in a house in the forest. So I'm going to draw a little house and then a forest. And now that we know forests have lots of trees, I'm going to draw lots of trees. There we go. Okay, what sound does forest start with? Forest. Well done. Okay, so we're going to go down the flower across the flower. Let's see if we can write the whole word forest. Ready? Oh. Forest. Forests. Forest. Okay, so once upon a time there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She lived in a house in a forest. What action can we do for forest? Well, we know there's lots of trees in a forest, so what if we pretend that our arms are trees and they're like this, waving in the wind? What do you think? Good job. Okay, so let's start again. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood lived in a house in the forest. Amazing. So we're going to try a new action now for our talk for writing. We're going to say one day. Can you do that with me? One day. Good try. My turn. One day. Your turn. Amazing. And when we say one day, we're not going to drop our pens on the floor. We're going to say one day, and we're going to draw a sun rising. Because we know, don't we, from doing our time work, that the sun rises in the daytime. So, one day. Let's do the action all together. One day. Amazing. Well done, everybody. One day. Little Red Riding Hood's mummy. What action do you think we can do for mummy? What do your mummies do? Do they put their hands on their hips? I'm a mummy and I know I do a lot of this. I do a lot of putting my hands on my hips and saying, can you tidy your room? Can you eat your dinner? So I think lots of mummies put their hands on their hips and ask their children something. So should we do this for mummy? If you have a better idea at home, you do that, okay? So, Little Red Riding Hood, we need to draw her face. There's Red Riding Hood, look. She's got her hood up. Okay. Should we write red so we know who it is? Red. Little Red Riding Hood's mum. So let's draw a bigger face because mummies tend to be bigger than little girls. Okay. And we're going to write mum. What sound can you hear first in mum? Well done. Little Red Riding Hood's mum. Oh, what am I drawing here? What is that? Do you know? It's a speech bubble. And when we draw a speech bubble, it's because somebody is saying something. So if I draw a picture of a stick person saying hello, I would draw a speech bubble and I'd write hello. Okay, so I'm drawing a speech bubble for Red Riding Hood's mum because she says to Red Riding Hood, take this stuff to Granny. Granny's poorly in bed, isn't she? So, Mum wants Red Riding Hood to take the stuff to Granny. So, we're going to write take. To, that's one of our red words. Let's underline it in red. Take to, who's she taking it to? Granny, well done. Granny, Granny, and E. Take to Granny. Okay. What action do you think we can do for Mum saying, take this stuff to Granny? We know that mums put their hands on their hips. If your mum or your grown-up was telling you to do something, telling you to take something somewhere, what do you think they might do? They might point, mightn't they? So should we do that? So, let's start here. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mum said, "Take this to Granny." Okay, good job. What happens next in our story? What happens next? Red Riding Hood goes, doesn't she? Can you remember what this word is? So. Well done. So, what action do we do when we say the word so in Talk for Writing? Can you remember from our story map last time? We go so. Can we have a try? So. Amazing. Well done. So, which character are we talking about now? Which character? We're talking about Red Riding Hood. And look, there's her cloak. So, how did Red Riding Hood get to Granny's house? Did she go in a car? No. Did she go on the bus? No. She skipped, didn't she? If you listen back to our story, you will find out that she skipped through the forest. Well done. Okay, so Little Red Riding Hood skipped. Can you skip on the spot? Amazing. Skipped through the forest. So we're going to draw the forest again with its lots of trees, because we know a forest is a place that has lots of trees. Okay, for forest. Oh, and we need to write head for Red Riding Hood. So, Little Red Riding Hood skipped through the forest. Amazing. Good girl. Good work. Okay, so now I'm going to do this action. Can you remember what this action means in Talk for Writing? What words do we say when we go like this? But. Well done. But what do you think happened next? Why are we saying but? What is wrong? Good, well done. Okay, so let's listen. What sounds can we hear in the word but? B. B. But who are we introducing to our story now? The wolf. Scary big bad wolf. But let's draw a wolf. Now don't laugh at me, because I am not very good at drawing wolves. There we go. So, but the wolf. What sound does wolf start with? Wolf. Wolf. Well done. But the wolf, down, up, was watching Red Riding Hood. Oh, I think she needs to be careful, don't you? Okay. So the wolf was watching. I'm going to draw some eyes for his watching her. Can you think of an action for wolf? Can you think of an action for wolf? What does the wolf look like? He has 4 legs. He's hairy. And he's got big ears. Should we do this for the wolf? Yeah? No, give him his big ears. Again, if you've got a better idea at home, you do your ideas, okay? Amazing. So, but the wolf was watching. Can you watch Red Riding Hood? Amazing. Well done. So, which character do you think we're going to carry on talking about now? Are we talking about Red Riding Hood or the wolf? We're talking about the wolf. Well done. So, the wolf What sound does wolf start with? Well done. And I'm going to write the as well, because that's one of our red words that we've been learning. So it would be good to see it lots and lots. And it's got a capital because it's at the beginning. The wolf. How did the wolf feel? Do you think he felt happy? Yeah, he might be happy. He might be sneaky. He was also very, very hungry, wasn't he? It might have been past his lunchtime. The wolf was hungry. So I think when we do this, our action for the wolf can stay the same, and we can rub our tummies for hungry, because when I'm hungry, I rub my tummy. The wolf was hungry. Shall we see if we can have a go at writing that word? My turn. Listen. Hungry. What sound does it start with? Hungry. Well done. Hungry. Hungry. We practiced writing that earlier today, didn't we? Hungry. It sounds like that. So that's what we'll write. Hungry. The wolf was hungry. So, I'm going to underline that in red and go back and underline our other one in red as well, because they're red words too, aren't they? So it just reminds us. So, the wolf, what did he do next? What did the wolf do? Where did the wolf go? Wolf. Yes, you're right. The wolf went to Granny's house, didn't he? And what did he do when he got there? He knocked on the door. So let's draw the door at Granny's house. How do I write Granny? What sound do I need? Granny. G. Well done. Gr and E. Granny. Okay. Shall we start from the beginning and go to where we are? I've been doing this quite a long time. So, once upon a time, there was a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood lived in a house in the forest. One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mum said, "Take this to Granny." So, Little Red Riding Hood skipped through the forest. But the wolf was watching. The wolf was hungry. So the wolf knocked on Granny's door. Well done. That's really good. We've done really well. Shall we do just a little bit more so we can carry on properly tomorrow? So, can you remember what word we say in our talk for writing when we do this? Can you remember? It's tricky. Suddenly. Amazing if you remembered. When we put both hands out in front of us, we say suddenly. So I'm going to draw both hands to remind us that we're using our special story talk. Suddenly. What happened next? What did the wolf do? I think you might be right. Let's draw the wolf. Wolf. The wolf gobbled. That's a good word, isn't it? Gobbled. My turn. Gobbled. Your turn. Amazing. What does gobbled mean? You might say, I had some sweeties and I gobbled them all up. What would I have done with them if I'd gobbled them all up? I'd have eaten them really fast. Well done. So, the wolf gobbled Granny up. Oh my goodness. The wolf must have been really hungry. The wolf gobbled Granny up. So let's draw a picture of Granny. She's got glasses. She's got a curly wig. She's got a nice dress. There we go. There's Granny. Granny. What sound does Granny start with? G. Well done. Well, I tell you what, we won't write Granny's name yet because we're going to have a go at writing that really good word, gobbled. Okay. What sound can you hear first in gobbled? Gobbled. G. Well done. G. R. B. L. D. Gobbled Granny. Granny. G. R. An. E. Gobbled Granny up. I think you can write this word. My turn. Up. Your turn. Amazing. Up. How many sounds can you hear in up? Up. Well done. Up. Well done. Up. He gobbled Granny up. What action do you think we can do for gobbled? Remember, what does it mean? It means ate really fast. So, if you eat something really fast, how do you do that? Amazing. Okay, so again, if you have a better action, you do that. I'm going to do this because if I eat chocolate or sweeties really, really fast, I gobble them up like this. Okay? So, we're going to go. Suddenly, the wolf gobbled Granny up. That's not good, is it? Oh dear. Who can remember what that means? But. Well done. It does. It means but. So I'm going to draw the one hand to remind us to say but we're going to write the word as well. So how do I spell but? B. T. But. What What do you think happened next? Why are we saying but? What was wrong? The wolf's already eaten Granny. What more can go wrong? But the wolf! Goodness me, this wolf's a bit cheeky. Down, up, woof a wolf. But the wolf was still hungry. Oh my goodness, so let's write hungry again. You tell me what sounds you can hear in hungry. Hungry. Okay, amazing. So you have done really, really well paying attention today, because this story isn't that simple. So just before we finish, let's read it from the start to where we are now, because we have done the beginning of the story today, haven't we? Ready to join in? You can stand up on your feet if you want to. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood lived in a house in the forest. One day, little Red Riding Hood's mum said, "Take this to Granny." So, little Red Riding Hood skipped through the forest. But the wolf was watching. The wolf was hungry. So the wolf knocked on Granny's door. Suddenly the wolf gobbled Granny up, but the wolf was still hungry. You have done amazing. Well done.